The winter wind bit through her threadbare jacket, and the city buzzed with indifference. People bustled past as if she were invisible. But when the old man ahead of her fumbled for change at the bus stop, her instincts kicked in. She stepped forward, pulled 2 crumpled bills from her pocket, likely her last, and said with a soft smile,
"I got you, sir."
He looked at her, his eyes wide with surprise. She smelled of rain, sweat, and desperation. Her shoes were torn, her fingers were trembling. Yet here she was giving. What she didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that this one act of kindness would ripple into a future she never dreamed possible. Her name was Rain. Her mother once said she named her that because even storms can bring life. But for the last year, Rain had lived in a reality where the storm never stopped. She had once been a bright-eyed college student with dreams of becoming a teacher. But dreams have a fragile spine in a world weighed down by poverty, illness, and bad luck. Her mother died of cancer during Rain's sophomore year. The bills swallowed everything. Then came eviction. Then came nights in shelters, sometimes on benches. She dropped out, ashamed, alone. Still, she never let it turn her bitter. She volunteered at soup kitchens, not to eat, but to serve. She offered her coat to another girl once during a frost warning. She learned the names of janitors, smiled at strangers, and always said, "Thank you." Even when the world offered her nothing. It was a Tuesday when she met him. Rain noticed him immediately because he didn't belong at that bus stop. He was in a tailored coat, polished shoes, and held a leather briefcase that screamed wealth. Yet, he was there, digging in his pocket like he'd forgotten his wallet. The bus was pulling up. Without thinking, Rain stepped in. "It's fine," she said gently, pressing the bills into the driver's hand. "He's with me." The man turned, startled. "Thank you, She just smiled and walked toward the back of the bus. He stood there for a beat, watching her. Then he followed and sat beside her. "Why'd you do that?" he asked. Rain shrugged. "Looked like you needed help." He smiled. "You don't even know me." "I didn't need to," she said, her eyes still fixed on the window. A little help never hurt nobody. They rode in silence for a few minutes before he asked, "What's your name?" "Rain." "Beautiful name," he said. "I'm Marcus." She nodded politely. "Nice to meet you, Marcus." He wanted to ask more. Where did she live?
Was she okay?
But something in her posture, proud but tired, told him not to pry. He offered her his card instead. "If you ever need anything, call this number." She glanced at it, then smiled faintly. "You're a lawyer or something?" He chuckled. "Something like that." The bus stopped. Rain stood up. "Take care, Marcus." And just like that, she was gone. Marcus Rivers was the CEO of Empyrean, a billion-dollar tech firm focused on AI and education reform. He had built it from scratch. The child of a single black mother who cleaned hotels to survive. He knew struggle. But it had been years since he'd felt it. Rain haunted him. He hadn't missed his wallet. He had intentionally left it at the office while rushing to clear his head after a board meeting that ended in a shouting match. His driver wasn't answering. The bus was his only option that day. And she paid his fare. He couldn't get over it. He searched shelters, talked to volunteers, left his card at soup kitchens. No one knew a girl named Rain. Then, a month later, the front desk buzzed his office. "Sir, there's a girl here. Says you gave her your card. Her name's Rain." Rain had kept the card in her sock for 3 weeks before she dared to use it. But hunger was clawing now. Her last safe shelter was closing. She had no more options. She expected a secretary or an assistant. Instead, Marcus came down himself. "Rain," he said, smiling like she was the only person in the building. "I've been looking for you." She looked embarrassed. "I'm not here to ask for money or anything," I didn't know where else to go." He didn't ask questions. He simply said, "Come with me." He took her to a nearby hotel, got her a room, fresh clothes, a warm meal, no strings. "Just rest," he said. "We'll talk tomorrow." She wept that night, not because she was afraid, but because, for once, she wasn't. Over the next few weeks, Marcus learned everything. Rain had been an honor student, majored in early education. She tutored kids at shelters even while she was homeless. She had no addiction history, no criminal record, and no family left, just bad luck. So Marcus did something he rarely did. He used his power to build, not just run. He gave her a job at Empyrean, not charity, but purpose. At first, she handled educational outreach, then digital curriculum design. She soaked up every lesson like sunlight. She rose fast. But what mattered more was this she didn't forget. Every Friday, Rain visited shelters. She mentored girls on the edge. She brought backpacks of essentials, books, smiles. She started a program called Second Light, a nonprofit that gave scholarships, safe housing, and mentorship to homeless youth, especially girls of color. She was no longer a shadow in the city. She was a storm of change. 3 years later, Rain stood on stage at the National Women of Impact Summit. She wore a cobalt blue suit and spoke with fire. "I was invisible once," she said, "until one man looked at me. Not as a statistic, but as a sister. I paid his bus fare. I thought I was helping him. Turns out he was the bridge to my destiny." The audience rose in applause. Backstage, Marcus smiled, tears in his eyes. She didn't just survive, she soared. KNDNG powerful, emotional message and narrator, voiceover. Sometimes the greatest investments aren't made in boardrooms. Sometimes they happen on the side of the road, in the middle of winter, when one heart sees another. Not with pity, but with love. Rain gave her last dollar, expecting nothing. But life had been watching. And in a world that often rewards cruelty, kindness still wins. Her kale to a CTION for viewers. If this story moved you, remember, you don't need money or power to change a life. Sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness. Share this story and let someone know they're not invisible. They matter.